This is the subcommittee's fourth and final hearing this year on the President's budget request, and I look forward to hearing what the Secretary has to say. The Department's budget request for 2016 is about $30.5 billion. This is an increase of about $2.5 billion over the amount Congress appropriated last year. Governing is about setting priorities, and given our fiscal constraints, especially on non-defense spending, we're going to have to make some tough decisions this year to make sure the highest priorities are funded. That's why we're holding this hearing, to give Secretary an opportunity to talk about the Department of Energy's most urgent priorities, so Senator Feinstein and I and the other committee members can begin to put together our appropriations bill over the next several weeks. I believe doubling basic energy research is one of the most important things we can do. It's hard to think of any important technological advance in the sciences, in physics and biology in any event, since World War II that hasn't involved at least some form of government-sponsored research, whether it's the development of unconventional gas or the work being done to develop small modular reactors.
The energy portfolio is about $5.38 billion in the proposal. If reactors go to 60 years, let's just say 60 years, then the large wave of retirements would be starting around 2030. That next decade would see a lot of retirements, and that's why if you run that movie back and ask about capital planning decisions, et cetera, at utilities, et cetera, having options understood in that 2025 or so time frame is really critical, and that applies to the experience with building Gen 3 plus large plants. It also applies to the small modular reactors, and that's why our program is on the SMRs has been really geared to trying to get something operating in the first half of the next decade, so that it's there in time for this critical decision period, potentially.
Well, you've been, I'll give you credit for being a consistent supporter of the small reactor research and support for certification and licensing activities, even though we've been disappointed with one of the grants, which was not your fault. Your department has selected NuScale Power for the second technical support award program, and your budget supports that. Are you at a point yet for where some of the money this next year would be used to help pick a site? And do you know a site yet for the NuScale project?
No, we do not. But I believe they've announced the intent to file an NRC at the end of next year, I believe.
So what will happen in the next year? What's the status of the small reactor program? Where are we?
Oh, the status is for them to complete all of the design and engineering work to the place where they can apply to NRC. Being a light water-based reactor, we hope that could then go, which is where NRC, of course, has immense experience. We hope that could go reasonably quickly and still hit something like a deployment date of 2022, 2023.
Are small reactors an option you think will be important for the United States as it seeks to provide more carbon-free baseload electricity generation?
It certainly could be. I think it's going to depend upon the cost performance. But if the cost performance is good, I see significant potential because it certainly makes a much more attractive financing approach.
One contributing aspect in some markets of the difficulty of economically operating a nuclear plant, much less building a new one, is the high subsidy for wind, allowing it to undercut nuclear. Secretary Chu in 2011, in response to my question, said that wind was a mature technology. It costs us about $6 billion a year to every time we renew that big production tax credit. I'd like to be spending the $6 billion on energy research instead of a subsidy that 22 years ago was started to jump-start a technology. Why would we want to have any sort of policy that would undercut our ability to produce carbon-free electricity that's baseload like wind?
Well,
nuclear?
again, I would say, well, the administration clearly supports the PTC, and the tax credit it also helps incentivize not just the deployment of the same technologies, but of, again, these evolving technologies that are very important in terms of again, efficiency, cost, and being able to work, in a greater variety of wind speeds, for example.
If you had $6 billion, would you rather spend it each year on subsidizing a 22-year-old mature technology or $6 billion of energy research?
I think I would have to think about that.